What's up, guys? It's Jess. Welcome back to Living by the F Word. Today I am talking about how raving solo and traveling solo was life-changing for me. I hope you're cozy. I hope you are ready for story time. Let's get into it. This is my third time trying to record this. The first time that I did, I was out of focus the entire time for the first like 14 minutes. So in my head, I was like, okay, what can I do better to kind of explain these connections? So I made a mind map because I thought it might be visually interesting to look at to kind of show you how this connection led to this connection, or this idea led to this, which then like led to all this stuff. So I did that and I just talked about it all and I forgot to turn my mic on. Oh my. I just really want to try to inspire you as to how these people that I met and experiences I had really changed my life. Let's start from the beginning when I first got into dance music. So that was around 2010, 2011. My ex at the time was into dance music. Him and his friends listened to dance music and they were kind of going to shows a lot, and they were planning on going to Ultra in 2011. I, of course, wasn't invited. You know, he's an ex for a reason. So, but like that kind of led to me going to Ultra on my own in 2012. And going to Ultra and making that decision to buy a ticket for Ultra, to go there alone, even though my sorority sister Jackie, she was going with her friends. You know, she had already had a bunch of stuff booked and she was like, we do not have like room, you know, but like, I can't believe you bought a ticket type of thing. And I was like, it's cool, I'll figure it out. And so I ended up booking a hostel on Ocean Drive, and I ended up meeting like a pretty large group of people. I would say there's like about 10 to 15 of us at that hostel that were attending all the pool parties and stuff for Miami Music Week and going to Ultra. But I think the most significant people that I met in that instant were two guys, Josh and Madjano. They were both Australian guys and they were from different parts of the country, but both of them kind of like planted this seed in my head that like, yo, like you can travel on your own. You're doing it right now. Like, why are you gonna wait for anyone else to do anything else? Like, you should come to Australia. Like, they were kind of like really like, yeah, you should come like visit us in Australia type of thing. And so I did. And so like that was like the first kind of like leap of faith that I took. Was I flew for 30 hours to another country I'd never been to before, and you know, expected these guys to pick me up because I trusted them and they were there. And then we ended up going to festivals together over there, and Madjano took me to Harbor Life, which was this sick little festival. And at the time, like, it was Too Many DJs, Flight Facilities, and Flume. Like, this was like way before like any of them were big or anything. So it was like this cool little intimate fest. And he also taught me a lot about like underground music. We saw a lot of people like in the clubs there in Sydney. But I think like meeting these two guys was huge because Madjano was booking to go on Holy Ship the following year. Meanwhile, Josh, who I went to Stereosonic with when I went to Australia, he was booking on Groove Cruise. And so I think this like choice of mine was really pivotal as far as where I am now within the industry. And that's because I decided to go on Groove Cruise with Josh. And so he was looking for another roommate between him and his other buddy, and I like leaped on it. Like, I didn't even like really ask what it was, anything. Like, I didn't compare, oh, like Holy Ship versus Groove Cruise, none of that. I just kind of like took this leap of faith and went with him on Groove Cruise. And ultimately, I think Groove Cruise was a huge, and well, still is, a lot of people that are subscribed to this channel know, like, it's a huge part of my life. But I do think that was like a huge gateway to meeting a lot of people that kind of changed my life in like really great ways. Going on that first Groove Cruise led to a lot of things because I kind of had this idea of like wanting to do adventure travel, and I started entering contests, travel contests, and making videos. And after I made that video, I was like, oh, I could share stories through my video, and through sharing stories, oh, I could also write, which is kind of how my blog launched. My blog kind of led to some other things, but also the whole sharing stories through videos and doing these video contests really opened up a lot of doors too, because that's how I made the first after movie I ever made for Groove Cruise was in 2014. Like, those two things in itself kind of led to researching more about the festival industry and how I could be a contributor to it through content. And so I researched the festival industry, and that brought me into a connection with Tucker, aka the festival guy. So if you don't know who Tucker is, he goes by the festival guy, and he basically is, to my knowledge, one of like the first bloggers that was writing from a fan perspective so that festival producers and people that run festivals could find solutions for issues that attendees were having. But I found him on an online search and basically found out about the International Music Festival Conference because he wrote about it on his blog. And there was all these like industry leaders that he was talking about in this blog post, and I was kind of like, yo, like, what is this? This sounds so cool. That led me to buy a ticket for the International Music Festival Conference in 2014, and that particular conference was pretty pivotal because of the people I met. I, of course, met Tucker and became friends with him. So that was huge because he opened up a lot of opportunities for me, which I will get to in a second. But I also met Art Gimbel, who was one of the co-founders of Fest 300. And I mean, I was convinced that Art was going to be my mentor because I literally wanted to have his life. He basically traveled to the world's best festivals and documented through photography and video what these festivals were like. And so like meeting him was huge because he really kind of shaped me as far as like festivals to try out. Like I talked a lot with him about festivals I wanted to try to go to that he had already been to, and he's like, oh, you know what, just skip out on that, go to BPM, you know, go to this one, go to that one. So he was like a pretty big influence as far as like festivals that I wanted to attend, like that I ended up I did attend in the future. There's also just like a lot of bloggers that I became friends with, which really kind of helped me with my blog. You know, Vito from Music Festival Wizard, Kim Owens, she was like a technology blogger where she ran a lot of panels as far as the technology side. There's also Cameron, who was the festival lawyer, who wrote about and actually spoke at a lot of festivals too about knowing your rights in case you get arrested at festivals. Brits Robbins was a huge one because she was the former PR and media for Shambhala, and she worked for Shambhala for years, but ultimately when she left Shambhala to pursue life coaching, she became my life coach in 2019. So like there was a lot of these connections that in the future were extremely important from meeting them at that point. Another huge connection at that conference was meeting Jason Buchema, who is the owner and founder of Guru Cruise. He knew who I was because of my video, of course, from earlier that year, but he was kind of like, oh, what are you doing here? And like that meeting with him kind of taught me how to get in contact with PR for festivals, and it ultimately led me to covering Groove Cruise the following year, which ultimately led me to being able to put that on my resume and apply to other media passes, because like now I was building this like portfolio, if that makes sense. So really like finding Tucker's blog and getting introduced to Tucker was massive because of all those connections. But then also, you know, Tucker has written books and he's asked me to contribute to those books. And it's been like such an honor to be a part of some of his projects that he's done. So Festival Goer's Guide was a book that myself, him, and a ton of other festival industry professionals contributed to, so that festival goers, whether they are new, whether they are old, whatever, can just make festivals a better experience for everyone. So that was really awesome. I also spoke with him on a panel at X Live in 2016. There was just so much that Tucker has done for me as far as festivals, you know, the industry side, like really like a lot of cool connections. Like I could go on and on and on honestly about him and like some of the parties he's thrown at Burning Man, like all this stuff. Like there's just so much good stuff to talk about with him. But speaking of him and Burning Man, another huge thing was Burning Man 2017. I was going to go solo. I wanted to go solo. I was like, I'm not going to be camping with anyone. I don't want to camp with anyone. Like, you know, I just need a ride in. So he was like, okay, I could drive you in, but like, you can't camp with us because like the camping there is pretty strict as far as like, especially if it's placement camps, like a lot of people are like blocking out spaces for people and stuff like that. So he was like, I could give you a ride in, but he like really did not like the idea of me being alone. So he was kind of like bugging out. Like he was like, this is not cool. Like, I don't like that you're going to be alone, blah, blah, blah. Well, long story short, his friend that he owned the RV with knew this other girl, Gina, who also was getting a ride in from them. And so I met Gina, and Gina was camping with Camp Burner Brown, who's my current camp for Burning Man. So it's just crazy because like Tucker doesn't even know Camp Burner Brown or anyone in Camp Burner Brown, but yet because of that connection with him, because I decided to go to that conference alone to network and meet people, it led to where I'm currently at now, basically, you know, as far as with my Burning Man camp, who's like amazing. Like we built an art card together. I love them. Like some of them have been burning for like 20 years. Like they're all pivotal people as far as having fun, but also volunteering within the city. Like I love them. I love them. So, like, you know, that was another huge thing that happened because of Tucker. Going back to Groove Cruise, okay? So why Groove Cruise was such a like thing. Obviously the meeting with Jason, meeting him at that conference was huge because it then got me media, right? And also like all the videos, just the connections with the Groove Cruise family was huge, you guys. Like I have traveled all over the world and gone to so many other festivals because of Groove Cruisers. Like them opening up the door as far as like being able to travel with them, meet them down there. Like it's just a very family like oriented group of people that like party all over the world together. And like I just always am meeting more and more people because of Groove Cruisers. But you know, going back to, let's say, like when I first did that after movie, another huge part about that year, which was Groove Cruise 2014, was at the beach party, there was someone that was handing out wristbands. And when I got home, I researched the wristband and it said Life Before Work. And it was this travel company, this tour company, who's owned by Brady, this guy named Brady. So either Brady or like one of his friends were passing out these wristbands, you know, good marketing, right? Because I ended up looking it up. And they run a lot of, you know, adventure travel tours. And so that kind of got my gears going with, ooh, like maybe I could be a tour guide. So then I started looking into tour companies, which then led me to such a massive encounter, which was I found Awake Tours. So Awake Tours is a company that I worked for with Anita Bass. So these Awake Tours and Anita were like a huge part of like my festival journey as well, because I basically, you know, there's a whole podcast me and Anita recorded on her podcast that I'll link below. And there's like a blog post that I've written about before, but about like how we actually met and like came together. But our story is like really so cool. We really were like destined to meet and help each other, you know what I mean? But really, in reality is she helped me more, I feel like, than I even helped her, you know, in a way, I feel like, because working for her tour company allowed me to go to some of these mega festivals for free and for multiple years in a row. Because of the research I did of tour companies, I ended up working for her and running her Coachella tour for 2014, 2015, 2016. I also ran her Tomorrowland tour in 2014 because I had already had experience going to Tomorrowland. So like there was just like all these things that happened because of Groove Cruise in general, like even Hangout Fest. I went to Hangout Fest alone, technically, not really alone, but because I was okay with like pursuing other groups of people by myself type of thing is how I ended up at Hangout Fest. And it was because of a Groove Cruiser too. So I really wanted to go to not Groove Cruise, I wanted to go to Hangout Fest. It was the same weekend as EDC New York. EDC New York was coming back, but it was going to be like at Citi Field in Queens. And I just wasn't even feeling it when it was at MetLife. Like it just wasn't up to par in my opinion. So I was like, I'd rather go to Hangout where it's going to be like this sick lineup on the beach, new festival, check it off, you know, that type of thing. And so there was this guy that asked in a Groove Cruise group if anyone was going or wanted to go or whatever. And I was like, perfect. And so I ended up flying to Florida. He had his friend Shane and her boyfriend pick me up. Never met these people, ever. You know, I never even met this guy, Sunny, who was a Groove Cruiser, but like we hadn't actually met on Groove Cruise. It was just like a Facebook group, you know? And so like they picked me up from the airport and I just remember like when they picked me up and they loaded me up and they're like, okay, so like how do you know Sunny? And like there was like this like kind of like pause because I was like, oh shit, like he didn't tell them that like we really don't actually know each other. It was cool because like I ended up with their whole group and we road tripped from Florida to Alabama and like, you know, complete strangers basically, but like all these connections for just like, you know, going alone basically. Everything just like led to more and more opportunities. Who else did I meet? Andrew from Pedicab People Movers. Because of my friendship with Andrew, I got to volunteer with him for Electric Forest. I got to meet other people like Alexa. She was like the operations manager basically. And also Where's Amanda, another content creator. You know, we all volunteered together. So like there's just like all these like connections. I just feel like I could go on and on. Like this thing got so crazy. Like it really did, like as I was like building it and like making all these connections. That year at Tomorrowland was also pretty pivotal because my best friend Ariel, since I was running the tour, she had to fly over on her own and she had never really wanted to do anything alone, okay? And so at the time she was like kind of like, oh my God, I have to fly alone. Well, because she was flying alone, because she was traveling alone, she ended up meeting Baby Doug. And Baby Doug was who I went to my first Burning Man with. So like I don't even know how to explain it, guys. Like when you travel alone, it opens up so many opportunities and experiences. Like it is just unreal. Oh, Electric Forest, hello. That was a huge thing in 2014 because that led me to go to Electric Forest from 2014 and every year since. But besides that, the people that I camped with at Electric Forest, they were like my rave family for like years. And they taught me so much. They taught me so much about how to camp proper and like, you know, have like this huge setup and like really kind of prepared me for other events I would be doing in the future. And also I went to so many other festivals and shows with them, Brooklyn Mirage, like, yo, they were like the real deal. And I met them because of my college buddy that was like, yo, you need to come to Electric Forest with us. Like, it is like so amazing. Like, you just need to come. And like, that's how I ended up with them. Another like kind of connection with Electric Forest was 2019 was a huge year for me volunteer wise. Like I was dedicated to volunteering at festivals. I was like, I want to give back. But what was kind of cool about Electric Forest that year was I told Andrew, like, I was like, yo, there's like this meetup I want to go to, like, if you don't mind, for this YouTuber, and that YouTuber is Vibe with Aid. So she was having a meetup and I went and I obviously met her, and I mean, she has really been impactful as far as like teaching me tricks. So I got to meet her, but not only her, Brian, the festival finesser, was there. So another YouTuber, and he started talking to me about Emma Kapotes because we're all from New Jersey. So it was like, that was another connection because then I started talking to Emma, and then I was on Emma's podcast, Rave Culture Cast, talking about Burning Man. And then because of the three of them, I basically got, you know, into this huge like YouTube network. It's just like, the list goes on and on and on, you know. Now, you know, there's a ton of YouTube content creators that talk about festivals that are all connected and helping each other. And so it's just been really amazing and life-changing. Oh no, I have low bat. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I guess that's my sign to kind of wrap this up. Just so many things have led to so many new interactions and people that have contributed to my life in a good way because of festivals. And really, it all stemmed from going alone to a lot of these events. And so if you guys are like skeptical about it, my advice is just do it because it leads to so many opportunities, way more opportunities than if you were with a group of people. And now I'm not saying like don't go with your rave fam, because like when you have a rave fam, like that also is just like, and you like have all these like treasured memories with them, right? But I'm just saying, for me personally, a lot of my festival like experience and especially within getting in the industry side of things was because I went alone and because I was able to network and I was able to meet more people, which then led to more opportunities, if that makes sense. I just think like when you're traveling alone, whether it's for like, you know, just a trip or a festival, you really are on your own agenda. You are more open to meeting more people and you know, able to really make your own decisions as far as like what set you want to go to, where you want to be at. You could have alone time when you want, but then meet people when you want. So it's just absolutely amazing. And if you guys have any questions or like are nervous about it, just like DM me on Instagram, voice note me, whatever. I will talk to you about it. I absolutely am living proof that solo travel is life-changing. It at least was for me. It's just like really, it's amazing. It's like so amazing to even talk about and think about right now, because like I just have lived such an amazing life and I love festivals and I can't wait for them to come back so that I could have more experiences and hopefully meet a lot of you watching this. I really like am just so looking forward to giving everyone a big bear hug and going to festivals again. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap it up. I like don't even like know if I missed anything. I hope I didn't miss anything pivotal, but those were pretty much the big major connections that were made from me traveling alone, going to festivals alone. Absolutely best decision I've ever made in my life. And yeah, I'll keep doing it probably forever because it's just always leading to better and better things. Thank you guys for watching. Like this video if you like content like this. I'm going to be trying to talk more about all my festival experiences, including how to go to festivals for free, how, my dinosaur allowed me to meet different people. That's a whole other story. And yeah, just more tips and stuff like that for festival goers. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.